Today we're going to find out how sexy is Savagnin. I'm Jason.
And I'm Trent. We're here on an unfiltered, unapologetically unprofessional wine journey. And we're saying, Jace.
Our saying is drink more, try more, learn more. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Trent, what's been on your mind?
Whether you pronounce Savagnin correctly.
Or not. Yeah.
Or not. But we'll get to that. But before that, thought of the week. So as part of our wine journey, there's these terms that always kind of come around that winemakers, people kind of say and don't really know what it means, but we just kind of nod our head going, yeah.
Yep.
One of those terms is baume.
Oh, yeah. What the hell is that? I hear that all the time.
So baume is a French term.
Yeah.
And what it means is that it's a unit of measurement for the amount of sugar in the grape juice in the fermenting wine. Yeah. So it's basically a measure of sugar. And the reason why they want to measure the sugar is that the grape sugar is the level of ripeness of the grape and therefore the potential alcohol in the wine.
Yeah.
So when they start to measure baume, they're trying to estimate the approximate sugar levels and therefore alcohol and therefore the optimal harvest time.
Yeah.
So what they do, they go into the vineyard, pick a few kind of good representations of the vineyard, put it together, put in a little kind of, not beaker, but there's kind of big kind of tubes.
Yep.
Put what they call a hydrometer into it that measures the baume levels. And that kind of tells you, is there too much sugar, not enough sugar, and whether you should pick this week, next week, or the week after. What it means is that, let's say like a 12 baume reading, because we hear the numbers, means about 12% alcohol generally. And what you do is you measure at the start, then measure at the end. So from 12, it goes down to 0. Basically, you got 12% change from the sugar into alcohol.
Yeah.
So you're trying to measure it and go through. So that's what it actually means when they look at baume. I kind of touched on the measurement before, but it's like this little thermometer. They kind of like put into the water. Because sugars are heavier than water, it starts to float.
Right.
So it depends on how high it is. It tells you that marker and then tells you, is it 13 baume? And then as the alcohol kind of, as the sugars turn to alcohol, it'll start to drop a bit more.
Right.
To just below 0, then you know that all the sugar's kind of gone through to alcohol, or you want to leave some residual, then you kind of adjust it as you want.
Yeah, okay. So effectively they're trying to work out how much sugar is in the grape to pick it at the right time to get the right level of alcohol.
Correct.
Following fermentation.
Correct. And also during fermentation, you can see as it kind of changes from the sugars into alcohol as well.
And then residual sugar is after fermentation, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
That's what's remained.
Yeah, or during fermentation, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So that's baume, and they go, we picked it at 12 baume means like 12 sugar.
Yes.
Or you think about 14 baume, then it's like, I guess that's like 14% alcohol. Then you start to think about, that's pretty high. So it gives you an idea of what the winemakers or the people, the viticulturalists are actually thinking when they actually start talking about, I picked it at a low baume.
Yeah.
Which means lower ripeness, high acidity, and the type of
lower
wine.
alcohol from that.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated after you said it. Honestly, I've been hearing about it all the time. I thought there'd be a whole book about baume. And it's, wow.
French term, but there are also other terms as well. They're kind of used to measure it, but I won't go into that for this episode. What have you been thinking about, Jace?
I haven't been thinking about baume.
Yeah.
But I have been thinking about whether or not to spit or swallow.
Good point.
It's a big deal in my mind.
You're talking about wine, right?
I'm talking about wine. Do you like to spit or do you like to swallow? What's your preference?
I think I'm more of I used to swallow, and now I think I spit more.
I'm the same. I felt like there wasn't enough wine or alcohol in the world. It was going to run out, so I have to swallow all the time.
Yeah.
But now as we're going on our journey, I'm spitting more, and there's a couple of reasons for that.
Yeah.
One, I don't really want to get that drunk.
Yeah.
2, I don't want added calories for my chunker dunker, gaining weight. And then 3, which I think is probably the most significant and I was surprised by, is I'm starting to analyze the flavors a bit more following spitting.
Yes.
And I'm still not certain why. I've got to focus on that a bit more, or maybe the less alcohol is taking away the distractions of all of the other flavors. But there are 3 kind of reasons why I start to spit. I don't swallow.
I think that definitely adds to in terms of you're not as affected as alcohol. Therefore, you can analyze the wines a bit better. But the other kind of I guess thought that I put into it as well is similar to when you had a big night before with alcohol, then you vomit out. Yeah. Then that vomit really starts to permeate through all the passages.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And same thing with wine. So when you spit it out, I find that actually comes through a lot more.
I didn't know what you were getting at, but yeah, okay, I get that.
I actually found that rather than just being, kind of stuck in a certain part of your palate, you're spitting it out, it comes through, the aromas go through your nose and start to feel a bit more about the different nuances on the wine.
Maybe that's why I never linked it back to vomiting out. But I could see the link there. Look, for me, I was actually quite nervous to spit out as well.
Yeah.
It was only recently until we've been attending more and more of these wine tastings and more events where the spittoon's there and you just can't have that much that I've gone, look, I've got to overcome this fear. But did you have a general concern that maybe you're not doing it right?
I find there is spitting etiquette.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's also a spitting style as well. Like some people, like in like this stream that kind of comes out. And it's like the Olympic divers, when they just go poof, and there's no splash.
It's really clean. Right?
Yeah, whereas mine's like a belly flop.
Yes. I've been seeing a lot of the wine, I don't know, there's something on social media right now. A lot of winemakers are spitting out like it's a long distance event, like they're spitting out 3 meters or something like that. But the etiquette is what I wanted to talk about and sharing that so that everyone can get a sense of if you don't want to swallow, you can spit it out.
Yeah.
These are some things to consider, right? So a few tips. One, don't have too much, right?
Yeah.
If you've got too much in your mouth, it's going to be very hard to get the direction and that very clean stream. Yeah. Two, which some of the sites have recommended, is you really got to purse your lips, almost like you're kissing someone.
Yeah, okay.
And then the stream comes out. So like that kind of...
Can you show me, yeah?
And anyone listening on the audio probably can't tell that, but I'm pursing my lips. A stream will come out. There's recommendations to practice in the shower.
A bit like a small butthole type of thing.
I guess so. I've never seen something coming out of a... Anyway, let's not go there. So let's do purse your lips. 3... You don't need to be it doesn't need to be a long distance event. I like to bring the spittoon to you. So bring it close to you, lift it to you, like have it there. Don't feel like you need to be spitting over other people to make it in there. 4 was around splashback and this happened to me once, right? I had a white t-shirt on, tasting red wine, spittoon, straight onto the t-shirt, stains everywhere. Yeah. Sounds like you had a similar experience.
Yeah, especially like a shared spittoon.
Yes.
So it's like someone else's.
Oh, remnants coming your way.
Yeah. So you could be there, someone else comes in, or you're there, and then bit of splashback.
Watch out.
Not good.
Watch out for that. Maybe we need like a shield or something.
That's why I need it for 3 meters.
We should practice that. I really want to do that. And then the last one, I want to reassure everyone, it's okay to dribble. I've dribbled. There's been a bit on the chin. Just wipe it off. It's okay. I'm sure it's happened to you sometimes. Yeah. He's very good at it. He's been practicing the butt cheek technique quite often. So, look, we just wanted to share that. One, you don't need to swallow every single time. There's a few tips there hoping you can practice your spitting.
Awesome. On to today's episode. So, episode today is How Sexy is Savagnin? It's a hard word to say.
Yeah.
Hard word to say, but Savagnin is actually a great varietal. But we'll delve into that. But the reason why I wanted to kind of delve into it is we first came across it when we went to Yarra Valley and to the Soumah estate. And they brought forward this grape, Savagnin. And I thought it was quite interesting, quite funky.
Yeah.
And then I kind of forgot about it. And then we recently went to the Coonawarra Roadshow. And Holic Estate also then had a Savagnin there as well.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, this is really interesting, actually. We should kind of delve back into this and explore it. And so I have. So today we're going to look at what we first tried, the Soumah Wild Savagnin, but we're going to compare it to the OG in terms of where Savagnin is really known for in Jura in France. Okay, so, but before we go to that, I want to talk about the accidental story of Savagnin in Australia. Oh, yeah. So in 2009, there was a bit of controversy where we were planting a lot of Albarino grapes. And then we thought, hang on, this doesn't really seem like Albarino. So we did some DNA testing on it. And after those tests came back, they realized it was actually Savagnin grape varietals. The reason why they did it, they this happened is because in 1989, the Spanish authorities sent through the wrong vine cuttings. So we started planting Sauvignon instead of Albarino. So we blame the Spanish for that one, or thank the Spanish for that, in terms of having Sauvignon now into Coonawarra and also Yarra, and also now to see these different expressions of the Sauvignon grape compared to the OG in Jura. I want to now kind of talk about Jura. Do you know anything about Jura?
No, it's probably the first time I've had an opportunity to try a wine from Jura, actually.
Okay. Well, the first thing I thought was pretty cool is Jurassic. Jurassic Park actually comes from Jura, the name.
What? Why?
Because it comes from the Jurassic period. Okay. And that's where they had the original limestones, and they started to look and experiment and discover it. So that's where they first discovered it, and hence Jurassic period from the Jura Mountains or the Jura area.
Interesting,
eh? The Jura area is kind of, special and also say mystical as well, because it actually used to be part of the Burgundy area. So we think about where Jura is. It's Burgundy's here, which is the east of France, and then further east is Jura,
okay,
and then further east is Switzerland, and then the Alps. There used to be one piece of land, but through about 80 million years ago, the tectonic plates started moving, created the Alps, then it kept kind of folding, and then created the Jura Mountains, and then split Burgundy and Jura separately. So I thought that's quite interesting, but obviously it's quite different in terms of what we think about Burgundy today to what we see as Jura today. Jura still has the Pinot Noir grape varietals and Chardonnay, but also has this wonderful grape called Sauvignon. Other fun facts about the Jura is that it's less than 1% of the total wine growing production in France. So it's really, really small area that grows grapes. And to that point, it's sometimes quite hard to actually find these wines, and probably why you haven't heard it previously.
Well, it's interesting because I've heard of it. I've never sampled it. But when you say it's 1%, that makes me think
less than 1%.
Really, yeah, it's so obscure, which is surprising.
There's 7 Jura appellations. The main one to Sauvignon is Chateau Chalon, which is probably the one that I wanted to try because all they can do their Sauvignon in a certain style. And the other ones that are known for Sauvignon is called Arbois and Côte de Jura, which is what we have today. The grape varietal itself, the parents are Sauvignon Blanc and Chenin Blanc.
Very famous.
Very famous, probably for good or bad reasons. But what it is popular for or famous for is this wine called Vin jaune, which means yellow wine.
Okay.
So vin jaune, wine, jaune, yellow.
Right.
Not to be confused with
Jean
Valjean. Oh, okay. Jean Valjean from Les Miserables.
Totally don't know that.
Don't know that one.
Anyway.
But when I say mystical, I think it's mystical in the way that it's made. So just to go through it. So they get the grapes, which is all hand-picked because it's all on these steep mountains in this small area. They take it through normal fermentation.
Yep.
Put the grapes there, add the yeast or wild yeast to then start to create the fermentation. And the difference is that they'll start to then leave it there. And then there's kind of natural bacteria in the barrels. They don't disinfect the barrels that they use. Okay. They start to create this bacterial kind of yeast floor on top of the wine, which is like this kind of grey film, which they call the floor or the veil that kind of sits on top of it. So that keeps them building. So then what that means is that it starts to create a bit of protection from oxygen.
Yeah, okay.
So it allows a bit of oxygen at the start, but then it controls it to kind of stop it from other bacteria kind of getting to the wine and creating vinegar.
Yep.
So, and then they leave it there for a minimum of 6 years and 3 months without touching it.
Right. So it's got this bacterial yeast on top of it.
Yeah.
For
6 years.
For 6 years.
3 months.
Okay.
And they don't touch it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is they put it into these cellars.
Yeah.
They open up the windows and they let that kind of heat come through to make sure that yeast kind of forms. But then through the winters, it allows for that kind of temperature variation.
Yeah.
So through summer to spring, winter to autumn or fall, they kind of let it kind of go through all these different variations. So it starts to develop these kind of really interesting notes and aromas.
Yeah.
So, and that's the type of wine that they create, and it creates a kind of yellowy kind of wine that we're kind of seeing today. And I know we've also had a smell earlier. It's very interesting on the nose. And
very unique.
Well. Just about those kind of flavors, I'll kind of talk to it first before we actually taste it. Like the flavors that you'll start to get because of that kind of, it's a bit like a kind of Lee's aging as well. It does add that kind of bit of the nuttiness, honey, and also curry as well is what they say. To kind of come through, mushroom, toast, and butter. In terms of food and wine pairing, what they say is what grows together goes together. And one of the famous cheeses in that area is called Comte. Okay. So apparently this is meant to be a mind-blowing kind of pairing. So I've got some Comte cheese here to go with the Sauvignon wines.
Wow.
And we'll want to see whether it will be mind-blown with this pairing.
Is it fair to say that even though they're the same grape variety, maybe that style in how it's been prepared for Soumah differs to how they've done it here in the Jura region?
I'm pretty sure with the Soumah one, they don't do the floor or the veil on top. Yep. What they do is a Solero model, right? Which is a bit like port, where each year they add it to the top, and then from that top one they add to the bottom to create kind of a certain level of consistency around the top of wine. It also brings in the kind of previous years into a kind of complexity and maturity into the new versions of the Sauvignon.
Yeah.
So should we start with the Soumah first?
Yeah, let's start with the Soumah.
So this is the Soumah Wild Sauvignon Solero number 2.
And I remember having this and thinking it was so unique at the time. I've never had scents nor flavors like this. Yeah. And it's still the same, like smelling this now.
What are you picking up on it?
It does have the it's got the salinity in there. We were talking about it earlier. It's kind of got this sliced meats, deli meats kind of scent to it.
Yeah. I think what I said was mortadella.
Yeah.
That meat that comes through. But also then started to think a bit of aged cheddar, that kind of funky nuttiness that kind of comes through. And then has acidity there, which is like a kind of a squeeze of lime with a bit of like smoked charcuterie on the palate as well as it comes through.
It's got a fair bit of body on it. And again, it's not a common white that I'd be expecting.
Should we try this with the cheese as well?
Yeah, give that a go. I do feel there's a bit of grassiness to it.
Maybe that's the reason the Sauvignon Blanc.
Great connection, actually, yeah. So what's special about this cheese? Is it just the fact it's
from that area, but obviously this is not from this Yarra Valley. But I think it'll probably pair better with that one. So Jace, what are your thoughts on that one?
The cheese itself, it's quite a dense cheese, but it's subtle yet there's some flavors that are coming out from there. Together, it's not like it's a bad pairing. Yeah. It's okay.
Having tried the Jura wine before and comparing to this one, like this definitely is funk, but they're not as funky as the other one. I do think the other one will work much better with the Comte cheese. This one seems a bit more kind of lighter, brighter funk with it. And
I remember funk was the term when we were trying it at Soumah.
Yeah. Because I do get mortadella, but also get like not citrus, but kind of like pears going through. So it's not really, it's funk, but not as deep funk as the other one.
That's the next one, which means we should get straight to this one with the funk there.
So this one is the 2018 Frederic Lambert Côte de Jura Savagnin. Got this one from our mate Mark Malouf at iHeart Wine, and he said that this is, again, next level. So this is, to say the OG. You can see by the color here, it has this kind of cloudiness to it, which shows that kind of, 6 years, 3 months kind of in the barrel.
More golden-y, more syrupy than the other, but not that viscous.
Yeah. Yep. But immediately on the nose, what are you picking up?
There's a couple of things that I pick up. I was getting a bit of char or a bit of peatiness, a bit of smokiness about it. Tiny bit of butterscotch as well. But the funk is what stands out. And funk is an interesting description. It's just this unique.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you say that this is like funk factor 5, this is like funk factor 10
Yes.
You know, it's really like hits you in the nose.
Yeah.
And the things that I got was like dried plums, raisins, dried apricots, toast and honey. But it's like this very kind of, I know it's not the wine for everyone. But I know I kind of like it.
It's unique. It's unique and it's complex. The thing that stands out to me, and as you were telling me the story about it, the thing that stands out to me is that smokiness, almost a char. And if you think about an episode we did recently on Madeira, we were describing some of the Madeira wines as char. But what was interesting is the wine styles about letting the temperatures through and letting that go up and down was kind of similar to Madeira. And I'm kind of getting that kind of char vibe through this as well.
Yeah, I get
that. That butterscotch as well.
Yeah, I get that hint of butterscotch, but also like kind of, I know, like baked dough, creme brulee kind of coming through, roasted nuts. And the other thing I said to you before is like the length on it just keeps on going. It really lingers there.
Yes.
Like for like minutes, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, it's still there. And I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
If I said to you, I'm curious if you get this. I kind of get the feeling like I'm having a scotch because of the smokiness that's coming through in it, and that kind of peaty kind of it's always there. That length of it is there.
I know. I mean, like the aromas that really kind of flow through, but it's also a bit like a port as well, right? When you think about those kind of raisins, that kind of smell that comes through.
It's so complex and lingering. You're trying it with the cheese.
The Comte.
I'm sure it's got to work from the same area.
That's delicious. But I think with the Comte though, if it had a bit more of age to it, a bit more funk on that one.
Yeah, it needs more of a kick to it. But together, this more subtle one, and I haven't had this kind of cheese before. Actually, the flavors in this lift it up a bit more.
It does. That's really, really nice. Go try that. Jura Savagnin wine, Sauvignon grape with some aged Comte cheese. It's a winner. Should we go to Corkscrew Ratings?
Yeah, let's go to Corkscrew Ratings. So if we go with the Soumah, both of these wines I think are quite unique. I'd probably give the Soumah a 7. Nice wine, unique, quite different. It's just that this wine here coming from Jura has so many different levels of complexity, and that smokiness, that nuttiness is just really enjoyable. I'd give that one probably an 8. 8 out of 10 corkscrews. What about you?
7 for the Soumah, and then probably 9 for the Jura. I find it's like intoxicating. Like it's funky, but you know, sometimes you have those kind of funky things you want to keep on smelling, whether it be your socks or your sweaty watch wristband or something like that.
You smell some really interesting things. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things you want to come back to and have a bit more of because it's just making you go through that journey.
Yeah, to your point around this lot of week, it's one of those ones that really just travels through your nasal passage. You know, it really comes through.
Yeah.
Oh, but in a kind of very nice, delicate way as well. I love it. Yeah, that's really nice.
Thank you for taking me on this journey. Got to try another wine from another region and hear the story of this, but it's another flavor profile I would never have known about, and now I get to appreciate it. It's great.
Last thoughts?
Last thoughts. I think I need to try more of the Savagnin just so I can pronounce it correctly, but also to understand the different ways that the flavor profiles can come across. We've seen a great expression here from Yarra, another one from Jura. Just got to try more. What about you?
I want to try more Jura. I want to try the Chateau Chalon Sauvignon wine. Try from there. I do also want to try some of the other Jura red wines as well. The 2 of the red varietals escapes my mind at the moment, but they also may be really kind of delicious as well, type of wines. So maybe that's for another episode.
Do you think Savagnin is sexy?
I think it's sexy.
I think it's sexy, actually.
Yeah, it is sexy.
That smokiness and nuttiness.
Intoxicating, you know, it's alluring, it's different, you know, like I know if you guys compare it to celebrities, I don't know, like
Not this challenge again. Which celebrity are you thinking about?
I know this is a bit more straightforward, and this is a bit more different. You know, that bit of mystique. You want to keep on kind of going and discovering a bit more.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a particular celebrity in mind?
I don't know. We'll post it in the comments when it comes to mind.
Let us know in the comments below on a celebrity that you'd have as one of these Savagnin. Also, if you've got a great Savagnin, I've been saying that differently all episode.
Savagnin.
That you'd recommend, let us know in the comments below. As we like to say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks, everyone.